Reconvene the Perkasie Council meeting December 3rd, 2012. Our committee's meeting. We'll start with the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Please rise and bow your head.
Lord, we thank you for another beautiful day in your grace. We ask your guidance and wisdom as we discuss the business of our town, and we pray for our neighbors, especially those who are sick or struggling. As we approach this blessed holiday season, let us remember the importance of Christmas. Let us embrace the joy and be ambassadors of peace, hope, and love, not only now, but throughout the year. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if we can take the attendance. Appreciate seeing everyone here this evening, and look forward to a good meeting. So we'll start with our first public forum. If anyone would like to come forward, please state your name and address. Your comments about
Yeah, Andrew Rumbold, 502 South 8th Street. I want to say that my wife and I came to the Christmas tree lighting and had a great time, and I think it's a really, awesome thing for this town to do. I was looking at, I actually had called, Mr. Algio because I had some questions about the budget, and I didn't get it. You didn't have a machine or anything, and I sent an email as well last week, and I didn't get a response, so I didn't know. No. And I sent an email and I didn't get a response. So, at any rate, I was able to talk to Joe Berardi, who was helpful in shedding some light on some of this stuff, and. I know that it's been publicized that there's not going to be a tax increase or an electric increase, but that's really spin on the budget, because looking at the bottom line numbers on the expenses, we're spending $243,000 more than we did last year, and we're running a deficit of almost, $36,492. I don't know how anybody in good conscience can vote for a budget like that. We're supposed to be tightening our belts now, like I'm sure a lot of families are. And just kind of looking down on the expenses on the budget here, and notice in the last column, the favorable or unfavorable differences from this year to next year. And a couple numbers stick out at me here. One is the manager's salary. We're budgeting an additional $14,512. What is that? Is Mr. Olper getting a raise? It's 14%. Okay, nobody's going to answer, so I don't get replies to an email. Nobody will answer me up here. I'll just keep going down the list. The assistant manager, 9% increase. 10% total on the executive. Another big glaring thing is how much health insurance we're paying for our employees here. You total them all up, it's $855,000 a year. I submitted a right-to-know request today for details, but I'd be willing to bet these are Cadillac plans. And you know what I have to do with my family when our health insurance goes up every year? We either shop new plans around or we take higher deductibles. And why public servants have a better health insurance plan than me. And I pay 100% of mine. I don't have any paid by my employer at all. I'm self-employed. To me, that's a disgrace. There's a lot of fat that could be cut out of this budget, just on the health insurance alone. So, again, I don't think that this budget, park wages, 25% increase. Are we hiring people? Are people getting raises? I see that, we're supposed to, tonight, there's a discussion on a wage and salary schedule. I think we deserve to know who's getting raises and how much. And I'll tell you what, if anybody votes for this budget, spending an additional $243,000 last year, I don't know how you can vote for that budget in good conscience, because you got to be taking the money from somewhere else if we're not increasing our electric. And I'll tell you what, I know there's several of you up for election next year, and anybody that votes for this is going to have a target on their back when it comes to election time, because I'll do whatever I can to make sure that we have people in these seats that really care about the residents in this town and the people that pay the bills. Thank you. And please, when you guys are talking tonight, we all know how hard it is to hear in here. We've all acknowledged that. Can you please try to speak into the microphone so we can all hear you? Thank you.
Anyone else?
it's different, but I don't understand it. So I was looking at the 2013, and I do see that the manager's salary is going to go up by 14,500, give or take, and his assistant another $5,300. But I looked back a little bit further, and the manager's pay back in 2010 was $98,385. That was his actual, not budgeted. Actual in 2011 was $129,521. That's a difference of $31,000. Okay, now to that you want to add another $14,500. I'm sitting here as a resident struggling from month to month. And over the years since 2010, I haven't seen that the borough manager has lowered my electric rate. I don't see that you're cutting spending. I haven't seen any new business come into Perkasie to boost our commerce or employment. And then your assistant. In 2009, her actual was $53,244. In 2010, her actual was $57,290. That's a difference of over $4,000. And in 2 years, you want to give her another $53,000? What are you doing that's a benefit to me as a resident and the other residents here to account for this kind of money? You know, just your increase alone is more than some two-income families make a month, working 2 jobs. So I'd like to know, how does this benefit me as a resident? That's my question.
No, the public forum is really your chance to give comments on items on the agenda or items, concerns that you may have. It's really not an opportunity to ask questions, but we appreciate the comments.
All right, thank you.
Yes, my name is George James, and I live at 315 North 5th Street here in Perkasie. My concern is I have 4 or 5 trees along the creek between my property and 311. And during the last storm, my neighbor advised me that the trees were shaking so bad that he went to the other section of his house for fear that they would come down. Now I did call the municipal borough building here 3 times to have them relay a message to the electric company, and as of today, I have not heard a word back. I then called a council person from 3rd Ward, and that person did respond today, and then came down and looked at the trees and said, well, okay, they aren't touching the wires, so therefore it didn't think that anything could be done about it. My problem is I contacted a private landscaping and tree surgeon. He will not touch them because they are too close to the electric lines. So I'm between a rock and a hard place. And all I want is a chance to talk to somebody from the electric company to see where I stand or what advice they can give me to how I can get these trees down. Thank you, Council, for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. James, I have your number. I'll have someone from the electric department give you a call tomorrow. I don't know why they didn't get the message. I have your number. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Donna Craven. I live at 412 South 6th Street, and I'm here to voice my concern regarding the variances that were granted to ABH Builders for the property at 408 South 6th Street. variance that they wanted and was granted was for 8,800 square feet. That's a difference of 4,700 square feet granted. The lot width, you have a law that says it should be 90 feet wide, and the lot in question is 55 feet wide. Variance was granted. Side setbacks are supposed to be 15 feet, and they requested 12.5 feet side setbacks, and those were granted. And all three were granted, it seemed like, with no opposition from the hearing board. We voiced our opinions very vocally, without being angry, but just saying the lot is so small. And what really made it bad, well, first of all, they said, well, there's other 55-foot lots in our area, which is true. They have houses on them, which is true, and I'm sure those houses were not built last week. They were built many years ago, because they were there when I built my house 30 years ago. And so they said, because of that, this lot is fine. So we requested that they also consider the houses that are on those lots. And they're sweet little Cape Cods. They're just little tiny homes or a little lot. And then they showed us the plans for the house that they're building. And at first they said it was a 2-story house with storage on the, like an attic. But then, as we went further into the meeting, one of the board members asked, what about this plan? They have a cut-in for a roughed-in bathroom on the 3rd floor, and also room for a bedroom. So it won't be finished, but it is a 3-story house. So then we asked if they would consider, please, to at least make the house smaller. And they said no. And then my husband, who was here then, also said, well, the one little Cape Cod across the street that's on a 55-foot lot, that's only 28 feet. So would you even consider that, just to go down 2 feet? No, they will not consider one thing. So they were asking for 3 variances that were pretty huge, we thought, and they wouldn't consider anything. And so I was pretty confident when the board went back into the room. I thought, oh my goodness, who's going to give them these variances when it was just so great? They came out and they gave them all 3. So I'm concerned that if that's the case, what's going to happen to our town? If builders can come in here who aren't in our town, they just come in, and they're going to be able to build on all these little lots that are left over. And I know it's revenue. It is revenue for us. But maybe if you're allowing them to build, at least say, please, make it small.
It's not conducive to the neighborhood that they're building. Did you talk to Kenny Russell? He's on the zoning.
Steve, it's really an opportunity to hear comments, and it's fair for both sides. If it's something you'd like to bring up, let's bring it up on other business.
Sorry, Russell.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening?
Hi. My name is Wendy Detweiler, and I live at 608 West Park Avenue, right in Perkasie here, and I'm also concerned about the same issue that my neighbor Donna just spoke about, considering that property is between 60 and 65% of the size it should be to build the house. It also, if you drive down the street, you'll notice that the property sits next to one of the tiniest houses in Perkasie, and it really will look out of place. Just expressing concern because in the closing arguments that their lawyer stated that it would be a real hardship to the builder to not be able to build this house because they can't change the dimensions of the property, and just really concerned about them setting precedents, and that do we have the confidence in our zoning laws, or does the builder actually really have more confidence that our board will pass these variances and allow them to build whatever they want in our community? So I too am just really concerned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else tonight?
Hi, my name is Todd Kent, and I live at 411 South 6th Street. I'm also here for the same thing on the zoning request. as what I understand, that these are zoning, are they ordinance or laws? Is it, you know, whatever. But they are in place to protect the citizens of this town, of Perkasie Borough. They are there so when people come in from out of town and want to build, that they can't put in this 3-story house with, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be very out of place. They're not, the zoning board didn't do their job. They didn't protect the citizens of this town. They gave that builder everything he wanted. The same builder has built a house on 5th Street, and they gave them, or they denied them the variances on that until they took it to the county. It was taken to the county, and it was never told, the neighbors were never told when the county hearing was, so they got their variances because no one opposed it. Now we come and we oppose it, and they get their variances. If I don't like the speed limit on a road, can I just change the speed limit signs? I sure can. But they can change the zoning. They're not protecting the citizens of this township. That lot is not even 2/3 of the size needed to build a house on. And again, they're roughing in a bathroom on the 3rd floor of a 3-story house. There's no 3-story houses on 6th Street, of that part of 6th Street. The builder said, yes, there is. There's 2-story, large 2 stories. They are not on 6th Street, they are on Park Avenue. So they're not correct in that. The other houses were grandfathered in. They were built before the ordinance was ever in place. So I just would like that, you know, the citizens get their just due. We didn't get it. We were just ignored. They had their fancy lawyers sitting here. When I want to go and build onto my house or do anything, I hope I can get easements and variances changed just as easy as they do.
Understood. Thank you. Anyone else this evening? Hearing none, we'll move to the agenda. Thank you. Okay, to number 5, the report from the Perkasie Planning Commission. The next meeting for the comprehensive plan will be December 12th, 7 o'clock here at Borough Hall. We'll move right into the police report, and I'll turn it over to the mayor for that.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to announce tonight that there is available a press release and the Perkasie Chief of Police report on the shooting incident from June. In addition to being available to the press and the public, that information will also be available on our website, I think tomorrow. Yeah. So if you see Dan afterwards, if you're in the press or public and you would like a copy of the Chief's report and our press release, please see him afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll move on to our Public Works Committee meeting. Councilors Jim Purcell, Chairman, Steve Algio, Barbara Krantz, and Suzanne Kravitz. Jim.
And we have a superintendent's report in front of us. Folks, is there any questions regarding that? The Public Works, and Dan Gilbert is in the audience. And Dan, I would like to say thank you to you and your crew for getting the skate park up and running and open again. They did a great job. Thank you. Sorry. Could you hear all that? Yeah. Is there any questions regarding the superintendent's report for November? Hearing none. Is there any other business for the Public Works Committee at this time? Hearing none. Turn it back to you, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. We'll stick with you then for the Public Utility Committee. Again, Jim Purcell, Steve Algio, Florence Ryan, Matt Eierlinger, and Jim Ryder.
We have the Public Utility Superintendent's report in front of us for November. Is there any questions regarding that report? Hearing none. Is there any other business to come before the Public Utility at this point?
Just the gentleman who came up for public forum, Mr. James. I guess our action there is to
assisted people in doing that. They have rubber covers they put on the cables, and the tree guy can come in and cut the tree down, they'll protect the cables, and then he come back and take it down. So they can be of service to Mr. Gibbs.
Great, thank you. Nothing further from me, Jim.
Okay, that's it. Turn it back to you, Matt. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. Councilor Steve Algio, Chair, Steve Zola, Florence Fry, Suzanne Kravitz, and Jim Ryder.
Thank you, Matt. We all have a copy of the Code Enforcement Officer's report. Are there any questions about that? Hearing none, is there any other business in the planning and zoning?
Yeah, Steve, I would just like to let council know that I did receive 3 emails today regarding the variance incident, and I just wanted to see if we could get a general consensus among council to take a look at this particular case. Maybe I may take a look at it as well.
Yeah, it seems like if we can get the background materials and we'll get it in the packet, we can discuss this at the December 17th meeting when we have some more background. Let the solicitor look into it. Dan, if you can talk with the Planning and Zoning Commission, get their zoning board, sorry, get their opinion on it, and then we'll be able to speak about it on the 17th. I think that should be on the agenda.
I'd like to try to see if we couldn't, after we review all this information, maybe try to put all the parties together and try to get some kind of concessions to make everybody happy on this.
What is our options that we are allowed to do? Because isn't the zoning board autonomous almost?
The zoning board makes an opinion, findings of fact, conclusions of law, and sets the decision based on the vote of the members of the zoning hearing board. The borough is automatically a party to that, and anybody, including the borough, the zoning hearing board, the applicant, or anybody who saw party status has 30 days from the date the decision is actually presented to take an appeal. So from that point, I think it's prudent to discuss it at the upcoming meeting. But any action, if there is to be an appeal or anything like that, we have to wait until we, number one, get the opinion and written decision from the zoning hearing board, and then within that 30-day window, the council can decide if there's an appeal to be taken or anyone who saw party status at the zoning hearing board could discuss that. So that's the general process.
So if the builder starts construction before the 30-day window, he's in violation.
It's at his risk. So if he wants this, it's his risk. But if there's an appeal taken, that's up to him.
What was the date of the decision? What was the date of the decision?
26th.
So it's a good week.
Okay. I'm assuming the contractor didn't start construction yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
Neighbors? So let's get on that.
Suzanne?
Can the borough deny what the zoning hearing board wants to do? Or they just...
Not necessarily ignore, but the borough is automatically a party to any appeal. The zoning hearing board is its own board, its own body. They make decisions on granting or denying variances, but it's ultimately the borough itself who has automatic party status in any appeal. It's not uncommon for a borough or a municipality to take a position either way on a decision of zoning.
So according to the 30-day rule, we don't have 30 days now. We have 3 weeks because a week has already been spent.
No, that's after the opinion and order comes out. They have an informal, verbal approval. The builder can start. He's acting at his own risk because once the opinion comes out, the written opinion, which could be 6 weeks from now, then they have 30 days. So the state plan
What Suzanne
30
is
days.
asking is, can the board, the borough, council, reverse that decision? That's what Suzanne's asking.
No, they have to ask the appeal.
So a resident has to appeal, or do we appeal?
Either or. A resident who saw party status at the hearing would have the right to appeal to the Court of Common Pleas in Doylestown. The borough, as an interested party, also has the same rights as the borough has automatic party status. to appeal. And it's, for some municipalities, the zoning hearing board solicitor will handle that, others the solicitor for the municipality will handle it.
Let me get this right here. We would take our own zoning board to court.
It's happened. There's it's not an uncommon thing, and that's a decision that council can do that in any zoning case, one way or the other. They can override or accept the decision of the zoning board.
Okay, here's my next question. If this council decides to appeal it, do we appeal it now, or do we wait 6 weeks?
We can't file any appeal is proven. It's not right. It's not ready for an appeal until the written decision from the zoning hearing board is given to us. From the time we're presented with a written decision, that's when the 30-day window starts. And I'm sorry if I didn't articulate that clearly.
I just want to make sure, because we have interested parties here.
We could start
That's a problem, and there's people on council that have a problem. So we don't want to miss this window.
I think it's prudent, though, that we take a look. I mean, we're not within a window yet. We have some time. We should take a look at the materials. We should wait and see the filing and then make a decision from there. I agree with you. I'm interested to see more of the documents.
Do we know when the next zoning hearing board has a meeting, or do we have to contact them to find that out?
They meet on the fourth Monday of every month, typically. I think December they changed it because of the holiday. But it doesn't matter because that case won't be back to them. So there's not much opportunity for dialogue with the zoning hearing board. It would be an appeal, not a discussion with them.
No, to comment on what they did. You could go to the zoning hearing board and comment on that you did.
I don't think so.
Well, it'll be in the minutes, right?
I mean, you could go into public comment, sure.
I don't think they have public comment. Unless it has to do with whatever's on my agenda that night.
Yeah, it really seems that once we understand this and we come up with some type of consensus, then it's really in our court. Obviously, the citizens can do what they need to do. But why don't we reserve judgment until we take a look at the materials and come back, put this on the 17th agenda and discuss it then.
Absolutely.
All right?
One more comment to the neighbors. If you see construction out there, please contact Dan or Perk immediately. Thank you.
Okay, planning and zoning then?
If there's nothing else.
Thanks, Steve. All right, Park and Recreation Committee, Councilors Florence Fry, Chair, Justin Stotler, Matt Eigelinger, and Suzanne Kravitz.
There's nothing on the agenda for Park and Rec this evening. I just also any cooperation that the Park and Rec has with Perkasie Old Town as far as the lighting of the Christmas tree. I really appreciate Perkasie Old Town coming forward again and doing a wonderful job for that celebration. There's nothing else on the agenda. If somebody wants to bring it up, I'd be happy to hear it now. Hearing none, back to you.
Thank you. Now we'll move into Personnel and Policy Committee. Councilors Barbara Krantz, Chair, Jim Purcell, Steve Pizzola, and Florence Fry. Barbara?
Okay, first is the established Borough Council meeting dates for next year. I have a couple of questions on that.